So I'd like to take a minute just to talk about this man. I've asked Jon Wedger for help quite a few times, even to the extent where he gave me his mobile number to contact him. I'd contacted various other people in connection to him as well to try and get help. He does not help people. He does not help survivors. He only seems to help the ones that don't have any evidence to back up their claims. But I do have evidence, sorry. I've handed quite a lot of that evidence to the police, don't get me wrong, but I still have a lot of that evidence in the house. The evidence that the police don't see, because it's the police that's on the evidence that are doing it. So I've again went to him and asked him for help. His response to it was horrendous. Do not trust this man. He's untrustworthy. He's a liar. He's a con artist. I believe that he has been in quite serious trouble himself. Don't trust.
Then he went on to talk about the money from the Jon Wedger Foundation, and he said that Sam Zen had donated £1,000 to him, and that had got taken by... It was me she donated £1,000 to. Jon, she left a van, she left like various items, so I don't know where he was going with that, saying that ended up in wills and probate. Then he went on to talk about the money from the Jon Wedger Foundation, and he said that Sam Zen had donated £1,000 to him, and that had got taken by... It was me she donated £1,000 to. Jon, she left a van, she left like various items, so I don't know where he was going with that, saying that ended up in wills and probate.
Good morning, my friends. I do apologise for looking as rough as I do. It's not something I normally look like, but, well, some would say I do, actually. But it's Mike Tarraga, a.k.a. sewer rat, satanic moron, maggot, and many other things I've been called over the last couple of weeks, but I'm still alive, and I'm back home. And in case you don't know, I'm also the author of Meat Rack Boy and A Hard Road to Travel. On me. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this morning is because I'd like to explain. It's quite difficult to explain things on a keyboard, especially when you get to my age and the old fingers don't dabble about as much as they used to do. But I want to explain what has been going on. There's been a spat, as well you know, between myself and Jon Wedger. This started because I asked the stupid question, why is his foundation not registered? Why is it not a limited company, registered at Companies House, and why it is not with the Charity Commission as a charity? It seems he gets an awful lot of money, but doesn't say what he does with it. In fact, he's on record from one of his brews from the roof as saying Jon Wedger doesn't answer questions. Well, perhaps he might do to the police, you know, because I've told them. I've asked them to look into it. I do not like people who con from the vulnerable. Now, he also said that supporters, wrong word to use, victims who don't follow his sort of rhetoric, if you don't believe in satanic ritual abuse, which I don't, it doesn't exist where I come from, right? There's no record of anyone being convicted of being a Satanist or a satanic offence, right? Let's get that clear. If you go through Archibald's Book of Criminal Pleadings, which is the Bible for the law world, then that has an example of every crime that's ever been before the British courts. Satanic ritual abuse is not one of them, right? I believe that abuse of any kind is entirely down to man's depravity and lust for power and domination over another human being. And that's all I'm going to say about this, right? Jon Wedger and I have absolutely nothing in common, apart from the fact I was once a con man, he is a con man. That is the difference. Now, I'm not going to say I saw the light because I didn't see the light. You know, what is the light? I saw the light behind Jon Wedger's head when he was on the roof. Was it a halo? I don't know. But he seems to think so. But Jon Wedger, as a last thing, you are not an evangelist. You are not a saver of souls. You are just a very naughty boy who very soon is going to get a very heavy spanking from the authorities. And that's the end of it. Now, hard road to travel. Yesterday I posted 50 plus copies all over the world. I haven't asked for money for them, and I just post them at my expense to people who want them, who want to read it, but can't afford to pay a tenner. And I know that in this day of austerity, a tenner is a lot of money, right? So if you can't afford a tenner, then let me know. Send me your address as an inbox, and I will send you a copy. It's not a problem. You know, writing this book and Meat Rack Boy, both books for which I hold the copyright, Mr. Wedger, please do not use them to raise money for yourself. They were written as statements. I'd always said that I was going to write an autobiography. I didn't think it was going to end up like this, but I'm very proud of it. I have read it as well, which may come as some surprise because I can read. And we decided that, Georgie and I decided that we didn't want to accept money for it. Not whilst I was alive, anyway. And as some of you may know, I came bloody well close to becoming a Norwegian Blue recently. And a big thank you to the hospital staff who sorted me out. And this book, A Hard Road to Travel, I will give copies away. But I suggested, if you want a signed copy, then I will send you a signed copy. If you can afford to buy a copy from Amazon and give it to someone who can't afford to buy a copy. And I will send you a signed copy free of charge. It's a kind of like 2 for 1. But it's 2 for 1. Any money from the book sold on Amazon, and if I may say so, any money that is received from the books that I sign out, and some people no doubt will send money, can I assure you that it will not be spent on night vision glasses, it will not be spent on vans, it will not be spent on alcohol, it will be spent providing treats, depending on how much we raise, but it will provide treats for the children of serving service personnel, military personnel, and serving police officers who lay their lives down whilst on duty. And it might be it provides a teddy bear or a day out. I don't know. But that it's going to be liaised with, pardon me, with my local military comrades club up here, and also through the police. I will have nothing to do with it. That's 50% of the profits gone. The other 50% will go into a fund so that my beloved Georgie, who has stood by me through thick and thin this last 13 years, will be looked after upon my demise once I become Norwegian Blue, Termatosa, fall off the perch. I will not see a penny, as I have not seen a penny from Meat Rat Boy. I couldn't tell you how many it sold. I couldn't tell you how much money it's made, and neither would I want to. I have no access to the accounts for Meat Rack Boy. That's dealt with by Breeze Media, Anna Breeze, and I believe, I would hope, that the money is spent wisely teaching people to use a camera to tell their stories and get their stories out. Jon Wedger could have done with that training, but he decided to go on the piss in Blackpool when we done it. Now you say I have a down on Jon Wedger. I do. I do have a down with him. And I'm not going to let this go. For a man to stand up on a roof and tell 28,000 followers, just think on that, 28,000 followers, that if you do not believe in satanic ritual abuse, then you're a sewer rat, a satanic moron, a son of Satan, a maggot, then there's something wrong with the bloke. For someone to say we're going on covert operations, covert what exactly? Why would he need night vision glasses? The man moves in a realm of fantasy. There are more stories coming out of Mr. Wedger's mouth than Disney at the moment. And I do have a down with him. And as long as he keeps attacking those who have been abused, right, and saying they're of no consequence, because this is what he said, then I will attack him with everything possible. I will bring him to his knees. I'm very easy about that. There's a saying where I come from: don't educate an idiot, use them. And I think Jon Wedger is using victims of abuse who tell their stories to his own ends. He has the money, not the victim. There's absolutely no backup. Counselling, there is none. That doesn't exist. Although he'll tell you that he has therapists. He hasn't, right? Now, I thought I could get past all this. But one thing, being in hospital and not being well, has taught me that there are some very, very nasty people about in this world. And Jon Wedger's one of them. He attacked me whilst I was in the intensive care unit at the Blackpool Vic with his rhetoric, you know. And I can't forgive him for that. My Georgie saw that, and it upset her. My friends saw it. It upset them. I offered him an olive branch. I said, I'll call this a day. You go about your stuff. I'll go about mine, Jon. And what did he do? He went on the roof on Saturday night and said it was a narcissistic apology. He didn't give a toss. And he did not care if victims of abuse or survivors, he did not care about them. We were scum because we don't buy in to his satanic ritual abuse, and because we won't contribute to his little fund, right, or his big fund, whatever it is. But, Mr. Wedger, here it is, take note, right? Use my dead brother's photograph again to go on a crowdfunding site, and I will see you in court. I have the copyright for that, as I have the copyright for Meat Rack Boy. You have no right to use my stuff. And if you don't stop doing it, then I will release all the information that I have on you, and the texts, the abusive texts that you sent me, right? I will show your followers exactly who you are. And to the idiot who decided to say that I shouldn't laugh really, that I have evil spirits that I keep as pets. Well, yeah, the cretin, the little black cat, the cretin. I don't know if he's evil, he's just misguided. Branislav Ivanovich, the grey, well, there's nothing evil about that, he just wants cuddles. And Diego Costa, the black and white cat, not Postman's Pat, but mine, well, he just stays out of the way and sleeps. So I can't see anything evil about them. But, Jon, some of your followers are deluded, totally deluded, and you're playing a dangerous game. How long? How long will it be before one of your followers or one of those that you take testimony from kills himself? Because I'll lay odds. I would bet if I was a gambling man that that'll happen before the end of the year, because you pick people up, get them to tell their stories to you, tell the world or 28,000 followers how great you are and what you're doing, then you drop them like a hot coal and you never follow it up to see how they are or what they're doing. That is what you've done with me, right? So let's have less of the bull, Jon. Do what you first started doing, right? We all have a purpose in life. And that purpose, I believed, was to help those who'd been abused. I firmly believe it was to help them get their stories out. You know, and getting my story out. And yes, you did help me. You introduced me to Anna Breeze, right, who got Meat Rack Boy out. The Meat Rack Boy that I said use all the profits from to teach people, right? And it worked, but you changed. You changed, Jon. You went from a nice guy to a lunatic who was telling me and others that you were going to go undercover in Ghana, a black country, you a white guy, to investigate the illegal snake market. You launched into a story about how you knew someone who had slashed her child's throat, so the child was sacrificed to Satanists and there was a police officer there. Well, surely, Jon, if you know of this, then you have a duty to go to the police. You have now said that you have information that you're trying to get to the National Crime Agency. Do you honestly think they're going to listen to you, an idiot? Really? Why don't you just walk into a state police station and go, oh, Mrs. Smith or whoever who lives at so-and-so has given me this information, will you look into it? Because that's the normal way. Jon, you don't have any police friends anymore because the police know that you are a liar. You've never, ever whistleblown. There's no record of it, Jon. There's a record of you having a minor injury and trying to get compensation through a court. There's a record of that. But whistleblowing? Who have you blown a whistle on, right? And can you explain why you run about with trackers? And please don't say that you don't, because when you went to a military base with me, a top secret military base, I might add, where stuff goes on to talk, you gave me a bag of badges in the mess on that base to pass on to someone. And lo and behold, inside that was a tracker. Why? You're not James Bond. You're not John the Baptist, right? You are Jon Wedger, liar of the parish. That is what you are. Con man, liar. Now, if you want to have a go at me, please feel free. Because everything I say, I have documented evidence. Nothing you say has any evidence or substance in it. In fact, it's true to say that you have no paperwork of any description as to what you've done, Jon. You don't keep records of where the money is spent, right? You don't keep records of what you're doing, right? So let's get this straight, Jon. You are a con man. And on that note, I'll say good morning.